Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We got a list of 20 properties on the Toronto board system, 2 on the Oakville Milton. Together, they basically form everything that's happened in the Milton real estate market in the last 24 hours. And that's the goal, to get the information to you faster and also to interpret it instead of just throwing the raw information at you. So 1471 Maple, number 212. Is at 309. It's a Windsor model. It's 1,002 square feet, which interestingly enough is, in my eyes, far more valuable than a 994 square foot home. Same thing with the townhouse. A 1,510 square foot townhouse to me is much more valuable than a 1,470 square foot townhouse, because that's your breaking point. There's the ladder rungs when we categorize square footage. It looks like you've got some almost like a tigerwood laminate floor. And the fees are a bit higher at $351 than the one below, which is actually the exact same floor plan. And so the fees here are $270 versus $350. Now, it's got the 12-foot ceiling that we talked about, I believe, in yesterday's episode, but it doesn't have the flooring upgrades. I feel like both of them are probably a little bit high, but I do like the fact that they're 2-bedroom, 2-washroom, and they have a pretty good floor plan. So cost again is $409. And so you've got a, I don't know if many people are into that kind of cherry wood look, but the real thing here is the size. I mean, it's a larger townhouse, but for me, I just feel like there's more for sale for around 410. Like, I just find there's more impressive stuff. We've got McTrack here at 419, 1,510 square feet. There's no hardwood floors. For $419, again, I just feel like buyers have other options here that probably would sway them instead of this one. 601 Scott is a very interesting location. So it's one of the 3-story homes with a double car garage behind. But you can see right where it is. It's right on the corner of Derry and Scott. Lots of road noise. But what it does have that's interesting that none of them have, I mean, this guy or the guy over there, is it has this triangular piece of yard that's actually bordered by a fence. So if you had kids, I mean, these ones basically, the only outdoor space is the patio above the double garage in the back. That could be an advantage for them, but it's probably one of the toughest intersections I could possibly imagine to sell a place. And so you do have hardwood on both floors. It is pretty nice inside, but it's a very, very tricky location. This one on Bustle gets an award for one of the best photos I've seen in a while. The mismatched appliances are not exactly helping them. I think that for the price, they could have done that, and that for probably $1,200 if they were smart about their budget. And the home has a fair bit of space. It's about 1,850 square feet. Same thing as we talked about before. Like if you have 95% finished basement, this was in yesterday's episode on Savaline, it makes sense just to push it that much further. And you also question the motivation if somebody is in a position where they're almost done, but they're selling it, and why didn't they finish? It could be that the seller has a high level of motivation. That is one of the best shots I've seen of a pie-shaped yard, and so very, very, very nice shot. 429 is good. It's relatively close to some train tracks, so you're going to hear the train just north of here. You do have a bit of a forest, and that's why the angle partly is looking back at the house, so they're not showing that sloping berm, but the photo itself looks great. 429 seems like a pretty good price for the amount of space you get and for a yard like that. McCready's 439. It's a 3-bedroom. It's a very narrow space here. Like when you've got a chair that basically takes up your whole wall, I'd question, what, again, it always comes back to what other choices does a buyer have, and I just feel like there's better for 439. 444.9 gets you the semi. 1,860 square feet on Thompson Road, and you've got an unfinished basement here. The photos don't really demonstrate the size of this home, and they don't even show there's some moldings in here and some finishes and upgrades and so on. You have a tiled front living dining room here, which is not to everyone's taste, more of a California style. And you've got some stuff in the backyard, some interlock in the front and back. Lots of parking space in the front. I think there's 3 or 4 spaces because it's on the curve of the little cul-de-sac that comes off of Thompson Road. The downside of living on Thompson are two things. Number one is that the noise is certainly an issue. Not so much traffic right in front of the house because of those little cutaways. And the second thing is that your guests can't park on the street. It's actually considered a fire hazard, so they have to go park on one of the side streets and then walk around to your house. However, if you have a driveway like this one, you do have plenty of parking out front. $444 for that one seems a little bit high. You do take a hit for being on Thompson. So Baker Heights is 5049. It's about 1,800 square feet. And what they did, this is normally a family room, and they made it into a dining room. So this is your living space, then kitchen plus the space right ahead. I kind of like that idea. But if you wanted the family room by the kitchen so you could keep an eye on the kids, you don't really have that option. It creates a little bit more of a closed concept. Beyond that, 5049, I would say it seems a little bit high to me for what you're getting. Cox Boulevard is 554.9. We've got a double car garage, more than 2,000 square feet with a finished basement. The street gets a fair bit of traffic just from going to and from the schools, and this street tends to be a cut through between Childs and Laurier. But there's a fair bit of size here. You've got your extra sunroom in the back, and the fact that it's a 3-bedroom, usually the 4 bedrooms tend to go up into the 6s, the ones that are a little bit bigger than this one with a little bit more finishes. We've got Dolby Crescent here. It's a Mattamy Carrington, about 2,100 square feet with a finished basement, and quite a few basement suites here. You have to be careful when you say apartment versus second suites, and it looks like they've done some work in the kitchen, some pretty high level upgrades there. And so there you go. So you see that there's a little bit of a kitchenette plus a bathroom down there. So I'm going to talk to you about the rules about second suites, probably in a couple homes. We've got McLaughlin here at 559. The biggest downside on this one is the size. It's less than 2,000 square feet. It's 3 bedrooms, hardwood floors. We've got a white kitchen, stainless steel appliances. You've got some really nice finishes. That's really your main floor in addition to your kitchen just over to the right-hand side. So not a tremendously huge house, but it has very nice finishes, and it has the green space behind. So they're really playing the game of upgrades plus the green space, bringing up to this price, because actually, I mean, this size of home would sell for far less if it didn't have that. And Joyce is the next one up, 574.9. We've got a shoestring angle right here. I don't know why someone would do that. That is a hardwood floor, but to me, there's good hand scraped, and then there's the sort of generic stuff. This looks like the generic, but it's hard to tell in the photos. Renovated kitchen. You've got a pool in the back, and you've got 4 bedrooms, but just watch the size of the rooms, because you're about 8.5 feet, 9 feet width, and so you have to be careful with scale of furniture. Clements is 594.9, one of Milton's, I would say, most desirable streets, definitely in the top 10 that people look for. Needs some work inside. It's a little bit more original, but you can work with some of this stuff. These cabinets, you could replace the counters, put some new appliances in, rip this thing down off the ceiling. You can stain these. You can do a lot with them. So you really, if you know what to do in some of these homes, hardwood floors, $5 a square foot plus a little bit to install. You can transform something like this. I would say that at a really good looking level, they could be up in the sort of mid 6s, maybe leaning towards the higher 6s. And so you look for things like this. Central Air 2012, you've got a roof on 2005, and so you can look at when the windows have been done. And so those are the kind of things that don't have a good return, but a kitchen, flooring, paint, bathrooms, those are the kind of things that once you put the money in, you tend to see the multiplication happen. Now, Lederman is 639, and so there's only 2 shots here. It kind of looks like a Plan 6 or a Plan 7. It's somewhere around 2,400 square feet, and no finished basement, hardwood on the main floor, carpet upstairs, quartz countertops, and I don't know, it's okay. It doesn't seem like a deal to me at 6, but we can wait for the photos. This one on Scott is about 2,500 square feet, plus it has it looks like a 2-bedroom basement suite, and so quite a few of these. If you've got even family, a lot of times what happens is the parents move in with the kids, and they kind of help with the childcare, and the kids, obviously they can sort of combine funds, and so it can be a real win-win. This one on Missioner, to me, doesn't even compare with the stuff on Rolfe. We've seen quite a few around this size, 27, 28, 2,900 square feet, plus some finished space downstairs in the sixes. So at 729, I just think they're getting slaughtered by their competition. And not a tremendous amount of upgrades. This one here on Holland Rake is 3,420 square feet. And so we've got some granite countertops. It's dark photos. I don't know if it presents the home as well. If you just looked at these photos, I could pretty much guarantee you wouldn't believe that it was 3,400 square feet. And so you really need to think about the impression that's left with buyers. The other thing is that you've only got, it says there's only 2 bathrooms upstairs. Usually there's 3. So it's nice when you've got the 3, because 5 bedrooms means the master has 1 bathroom. Then you've got Jack and Jill for 2 and Jack and Jill for 2. I'd almost say that 3 bathrooms up on the second floor for a 5 bedroom is getting pretty close to mandatory. And it's not like someone couldn't live with 1 bathroom in a house, but the majority of buyers would want to see that 3rd bathroom. So Cavell is $875. If you check the virtual tour, there's yet another basement apartment. There's some sketchy brickwork above the separate door to the basement. So just if you zoom in, you'll see what I mean. Now, the thing about second suites, here's the thing that's happening. Most of the municipalities up to a couple years ago just said, look, we're not doing them. Forget about it. Don't even ask us. Or they were retrofitted from history. So if they were there already 50 years ago, they said, okay, we'll let you continue with that. Now, what's happened recently is Ontario has gone to everybody and said, look, we need more affordable housing. So now the rules say if you comply with the building code and the fire code, and you've got enough parking and so on, that you are allowed to do that. And I think most of the municipalities are now shifting and saying, okay, well, if Ontario says it, then we have to do it, but we're going to try and get paid. So you might start to see permit processes. It's a very interesting discussion, but basically right now, if you comply with the building and fire code and you're somewhat aesthetically pleasing, I can't see why it wouldn't be an issue. But you want to look into insurance. There's a lot of different things that you want to look into to make sure that you stay safe as a landlord. Upgrades of worth $150,000 have been done. That's fine, but the thing is, you don't always get the money back for what you do. So I always question when I see that number, especially when it's a big one. I like to see the breakdown. I like to see, okay, which one are you actually getting returns on? Crawford Crescent is 1.389. Tough neighborhood to sell, right in Campbellville, right in the heart of Campbellville. And I think we've seen like 1 or 2 sales in the last 4 years in this neighborhood, so it can be very tricky. This might be considered one of the best properties in that entire subdivision. Look at the landscaping. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. And the one concern I would have is if you like quiet and tranquil, this street is actually very, very close to the 401. So you do hear some buzz in the air. So if you like that serene peacefulness, even in terms of light pollution, you might actually find that it's not, the stars aren't as bright here as if you go up even to like 20th Side Road or something like that. So we'll get over to the last two. The first one is on Broadway. So it's a bungalow with it looks like an attached garage. Mostly, I would say, let's just call it mostly original or needing some work. And at 415, we're a 50 by 132 foot property. It's a little hard to tell how this one, in terms of value. I mean, it seems like it's not exactly a steal, but it does have some advantages. The neighborhood's really nice too. And then we've got this one on McDougall, which is just under 2,600 square feet, hardwood floors. And there's a bit of a mismatched countertop here. I wouldn't say the kitchen is really blowing your mind. And then you have this area outside the master bedroom, bit of a loft space that overlooks the front living room, and pretty standard sized lot. You have a duplicate photo there. I don't think it's a great deal at $629. It's not horrible, but it's not really blowing me away. So that's the list for today. It's 22 properties. If you have any questions, give us a call, and we'd be glad to help you. I think the next buyer class we have coming up is the 25th or the 26th, and you can find more information about that over on that side there. So have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.